Unfinished, Nicholas Nickleby here. I finally finished all of Charles Dickens' completed novels. You can officially consider me Dickensed out. It's been a long process, a journey through satire, sentiment and social critique. And yes, I'm leaving Edwin Drood for another day. This novel wasn't completed at the time of Dickens' death. My name is Jim. This is my channel, Books, Reading and Stuff. My Dickens journey began in school in 1979 when we had to read A Tale of Two Cities, and this almost put me off Dickens for life. It's not the best place to start Dickens, and I wasn't impressed with the teaching at school of English literature. After the school experience, I came back to Dickens a long time later in 2006 when a book club I was in that was based around the Waterstones bookstore in Worcester in England decided they would read Great Expectations, and I felt a little downcast at the beginning because I thought, no, not Dickens, but I found I really liked it. And Great Expectations is a book I'd recommend for anybody who wants to start Dickens because it's told in the first person. It's a Bildungsroman, a coming-of-age story, and it's relatively short for a Dickens novel. It's also one of his later books, and I prefer his later books to his early works. Then I moved here to Georgia, the country, not the US state. And I found in the bookshops here there were not a lot of English books, but there were quite a few classics, not a lot of contemporary English books at the time I arrived. Now it's different, there's a lot more choice in the bookstores here. And so I picked up a couple of Dickens classics. I read Hard Times in 2014, and I also reread A Tale of Two Cities. And on the rereading, it wasn't as bad as I remembered it in school. I think it might have been something to do with the teaching. Also, it's one of the least humorous of Dickens novels. Dickens is famous for his humour, and there's not a lot of humour in A Tale of Two Cities. It wasn't until 2019 that I got the idea that I might be able to read all of Dickens' novels. And in 2019, I picked up The Pickwick Papers, his first novel, with the idea of going through his novels. Because the order's been quite haphazard until, well, it's been quite haphazard. And during 2020, there was this pandemic thing. You might remember it. And during the pandemic, during 2020, I was able to read 4 Dickens novels. I read Our Mutual Friend, I read David Copperfield, I read Oliver Twist, and I read Dombey and Son. Yeah, this was the only year I managed to read so many Dickens novels in 1 year, and I know it was because of the pandemic. David Copperfield remains my favourite Dickens novel. I'm thinking about making a ranking of the Dickens novels. It won't be in this video because I'm still processing Nicholas Nickleby and I have to reflect on the novels I've read. Some of them I remember much better than others. If you're looking for a ranking of Dickens novels, I can link in the show notes to Katie Lumsden's video where she tier ranked all the Dickens novels, and she's more of the expert than I am on Dickens because she's not only read all of Dickens novels, she's read them several times. I've only reread A Tale of Two Cities, and in the future, I think the only 2 Dickens novels I might reread, or 3 maybe, will be Great Expectations, Our Mutual Friend, and David Copperfield. Although I don't have David Copperfield and Great Expectations here because I'm more about reading than about collecting books. And before I moved here, I was moving around a lot, and if you move around a lot, you don't want to take a lot of books with you. And 2020 is also the time I started my BookTube channel. When I started this BookTube channel, I was reading Dombey and Son. I've become interested in BookTube from following Katie Lumsden channel Books and Things, because I was interested in Dickens, and through watching her videos about Dickens I heard about BookTube and I thought this sounds an interesting thing to do, and it was the pandemic and I wanted a creative outlet, so it seemed the perfect fit. And since 2020 I've been reading steadily through the remainder of Dickens novels, finishing with Nicholas Nickleby this year. I finished Barnaby Rudge earlier in the year, which I started last year during Victober. I started this in Victober as well. Victober is a celebration of Victorian literature in the month of October here on BookTube. My Dickens books are here, the ones I have. I can show you more closely. This is my classic shelf, and you can see behind the red London bus I have 6 Dickens novels: Dombey and Son, The Old Curiosity Shop, Martin Chuzzlewit, Our Mutual Friend, Barnaby Rudge, and Bleak House. There's also Dickens at Christmas, which is a collection of short stories and novellas around Christmas time by Dickens. So, what now? I've finished Dickens' completed novels. I could read this, The Mystery of Edwin Drood, his unfinished novel. In here are also some short stories like Master Humphrey's Clock. I haven't read all of Dickens' short stories. I've just read Christmas Carol and a couple of the other Christmas novellas. Dickens wrote a lot of things which weren't novels. I could also read Trollope, Anthony Trollope. I haven't read any Anthony Trollope because I've been busy with Dickens, but I hear from other booktubers that Trollope is certainly worth reading for a Victorian novelist. I don't think I'll be reading any more Victorian novels this year. I've got a lot of contemporary novels I want to read. You might have some ideas what I can read next. Let me know in the comments. Let me know also what's your favourite Dickens novel, if you've read any Dickens, or which Dickens novel would you really like to read. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. This will help me with the YouTube algorithm, and I shall see you on the next video. Goodbye.